Greetings and salutations, my friends. We're back again with another update. I haven't read it. We're going to read it together first time after the last one. I'm very excited. This one is about introducing intermediaries and offloading players. I think they talked briefly about the transfer room that they sort of partnered up with, so I'm assuming it's something to do with that. I think that is a problem with offloading players. I think in the game just generally, especially if you're a smaller club and you've got a 100k player that you can't offload, even when you're trying to give them away and their wage demands aren't crazy, it feels like somebody would definitely take them, but we've all been in that position where you just can't shift them. So hopefully that's improved. With your signing world-class wonder kids looking to offload players that no longer make the grade, or anything in between, squad building is an integral to every Football Manager career. We've heard your feedback in recent years that selling players can prove a frustrating experience. It is often for many clubs and players during every transfer window. With that in mind, our team considered the extra tools we have in FM24 for players and AI managers, just as important that the AI managers can do it as well, to help with this aspect of the game. As with so many areas of FM, we leaned into our industry access. All right. Flex, weird flex, to better understand how clubs look to solve the problem of offloading players in the professional game, and then applied this insight to our game world. Okay, discuss generating market interest, hire an intermediary. So is that like just hiring an intermediary, like giving it to an AI to kind of do it? That's almost like the unwanted list. Okay, using agents for better transfer market insight in an attempt to give you better clarity on how much you can get for players when trying to sell them. We've added a new Ask Agent About Market Interest option to the transfer drop-down on player profiles. Selecting this takes you through a quick chat with the player's agent. As manager, you have 3 response options that each carry a different tone. Desperate demonstrates a real urgency to moving the player on. Keen, yeah, we get what they mean. And curious. Okay, picking one of these options will trigger your interest in selling player. If they are happy to move, the agent will let you know that the player's current market value and the club's most interested in their services. However, if your intention to sell catches the player by surprise and they don't want to leave, the agent will refuse to engage in attempts to sell them, and you may need to go over their head. Be careful, though, because as with everything in FM, your actions have consequences. That all makes sense. I'm happy with that. I like the idea of them giving you a market value. So because we've all seen this. You offer a player out for $1 million, and then you'll get like an email saying there's no offers, but Club Bruges are interested, but they would only maybe willing to pay about $500,000. My always first thought is, well, why don't they just offer $500,000 and then we'll do this thing called negotiate and find a price we're both happy with? But it's like, okay, and then you end up offering the player for $500,000 to everybody, and Club Bruges is there. It's like, well, Club Bruges, I'm going to offer, but they might be offered if it's 220k. That's really annoying. So I'm wondering if that's just that, which would be annoying. So this is the desperate keen thing. So I like the idea of talking to the agent. That makes sense. After your initial response, you will have the choice of asking the agent to proceed and begin sourcing a move. Or you can reconsider your options if you're not happy with the potential price of the club's with rumoured interest. If your player is happy to leave but there are no takers, the agent will explain why. Does that mean if I asked the agent and said, hey, look, I'm looking to sell this player, and he says there's no clubs interested, does that mean if I offer him out cheap, nobody's going to bid for him? Or is that just the ones he knows about? This is one of those things we're definitely going to need to see in game to get a better idea. Following the conversation with the agent, the price tag on the player's profile will update to reflect the market value discussed. This new value initially displays in a different colour and will remain active on the player's profile until it expires. This period of time varies based on where you are in the season, in and out of the transfer window during transfer deadline day. Yeah, that makes sense. It's important to note that while this new functionality will give you a better clarity on potential fees for players you want to sell, it doesn't guarantee a sale every time. Okay. Which is good. We didn't want it to guarantee a sale. That would just be I'm not sure. I'm not sure about. I need to see this one because this could be good. It could just be another hurdle to get through to try and selling a player. Okay, we've also because quite often, especially if you're selling youngsters, you can sell them for like incredibly high prices because teams buying them on potential. But like if I have that 18-year-old kid and I say to him, go to his agent and say, look, we're curious about selling you. And they say, well, his market value is 5 million. Does that mean the 5 million is the highest bid I'm going to get? Or can I still get a Man City or a Man United to pay 20 million for that really good youngster? That's the bit I'm have question marks about. We've also made some upgrades to ask agent about availability. Quick chat, I do like this button. Quick chat, first introduced in FM22 to help with trying to buy a new player. Now, minimum fee release clauses and expected contract lengths are included in the player's bullet points list of demands. You can also contest some of these items. Wait, what? Let me... Minimum fee release... Oh, my God. A minimum... You can just... Wait. You can discuss a minimum fee release clause with the agent beforehand. That's amazing. There's so many times that I want a player, but they've locked in that they want a release clause of $1 million, and I'm like, I'm buying you for 900k as a wonder kid. That is a ridiculous thing. I can't. And they won't budge, and there's no way of talking to them about the release clause. So that is actually huge. I love that. Excellent. You can also contest some of these items, either working with the agent to seek a more favourable release clause or asking for demands to remain up for discussion until you enter formal negotiations. Nice. Okay. Evolve your squad with new intermediaries. If you want to sell one of your players but their agent isn't cooperating or the offers don't meet your expectations, you can now hire an intermediary to help. I wonder if they take a percentage. That'd be interesting. Intermediaries are brokers recruited by a director of football or relevant staff member that can help generate new interest in a player and assist with securing a move for a percentage of the final transfer fee. I like that. That's good. Because sometimes you just go away. Sometimes I can't sell a player and it's so hard that I just end up putting them in the under-23s and forgetting they exist until their contract runs out. The interest they are able to source is determined by a few factors, including their reach and ability as an agent. Their scope is a measure of geographical location they operate in. For example, an intermediary with continental Europe would bring interest in from... we grasp that. Their ability will help determine how much interest and what sale value that you can find in your player. The commission is capped at a maximum of 10% for the overall transfer fee, just as it is in a professional game. The cost is shown, which is kind of like what Transfer Room does. The cost is shown throughout the process, right from the initial inbox item, indicating that a bid has been received right through to the transfer completion news item. Assessing your intermediary options is key. While the commission they charge is based on their reach and ability, someone better known but lesser skilled may well end up charging more than a higher skilled but lesser well-connected person. Another factor is the length of time they spend gathering offers. Higher ability intermediaries will find offers more quickly, which is important if you're trying to get rid of somebody before a transfer window expires, etc. But understandably, their cost is higher. During the busiest transfer periods of the season, such as deadline day, this time is reduced, and that could mean some lower ability intermediaries may be entirely unable to complete their work. Makes sense. Okay, head to the transfer drop down on your transfer player, hire an intermediary to sell. But okay, I like this. This is good. I feel like most of the time you would do it yourself, but this is kind of, I can't shift this guy, I just want him gone, hire an intermediary, right? Like, I like this though. If a player's agent didn't want to sell the player earlier in the process due to the player not wanting to leave, going over their head to an intermediary can risk the player becoming unhappy, standard stuff. It can also bring your sale options that the player's own agent wouldn't have even considered as being possible, as the intermediary may have better connections. Okay, so there we go, yeah. If you choose to hire an intermediary and they are able to find interest in one of your players, you'll receive a quick chat pop-up from the relevant staff member. Is this... Okay, this is the intermediary stuff, okay. You receive displaying which intermediaries are offering their services, a preview of what you can expect to provide. They'll give you information based on a formal discussion. Okay, yeah. Once you reviewed what intermediary is offering, you can choose which suits you best and ask them to return with specific offers. Once the associated period of time elapsed, your selected intermediary will return with promises. Okay, yep. Okay, we'll bring the offers in. If none of the clubs, the intermediary identify it. I've never said intermediaries this many times in my entire life combined. Identify as interested bid for your players. Their reasoning will be explained.
The intermediary will also let you know if they are unable to source any interest at all. You can try again later if this is the case in the prompt, and I'm assuming it's because it's a percentage of your transfer fee, you're not paying an upfront cost. If you receive no offers but are still desperate to sell the player, there is an option to offer out an ultimatum to all the intermediaries instead of selecting just what. Oh, the desperate button. Fuck it. The fuck it button. This ultimatum serves as a first-come, first-served system where all intermediaries will try to source a bid for your player, and the first offer is the only offer. However, that does mean, I like it, though. I like it, because sometimes, like, you take free. Just go away. So, yes. However, this does mean that you are unable to select a specific intermediary and will be unaware of the associated percentage fee up front. If after a month you still haven't received an offer as your player, the ultimatum will end. I like this. I like that. Should you cancel or reject a move sourced by an intermediary, both the intermediary and the associated club will be unlikely to make further offers for this player for a short period. Okay, so it's like they grayed out for a bit. Because these are transfer offers. Yeah, that's fine. They also work for other clubs, meaning they'll come to you directly if someone else is looking to offload a player, like this. In these instances, you receive a scout report that includes agent feedback, outlining a fee expected, financial details, where you to proceed. That's good. All of these things, I think, are so important that the AI has these tools and uses these tools, so it doesn't feel like you're playing a different game to the AI. As initially revealed in our most recent... Oh, this is about the transfer room stuff. In FM24, the digital service replaces the previous offer to clubs option, one of my favourite buttons in the game, as a simple way to reach out to other clubs with players you want to sell. This is not an instant option, as the clubs won't all be online looking at the system. It's like, think of it, transfer room is like eBay for footballers, a closed system that's not open to the public, but all like the teams can have access to it, the managers, so they can log in, see who's available, essentially. But your staff will collate the offers together for you and inform you of any interest in good time. Clubs are more likely to be using it at different points in the season and transfer window, so responses may come in more quickly. Sometimes, during the transfer window, you're probably going to get results a lot quicker. Something to note is that using the intermediary ultimatum functionality outlined above doesn't preclude you from offering a player... Okay, so you can do both. If you're really desperate to get rid of someone, that's good. This is just the start of the integration. Much more to come in the future. Okay. Upgrading the existing agents functionality and introducing intermediaries has led us to make a few changes to this transfer status screen. Clubs considering a move for one of your players will now be classed as having active interest or rumoured interest rather than the major or minor. You'll also need Yeah. So, for example, if your player was not on the club's first choice target in a given position, that would qualify as rumoured. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Agent feedback is still included on the screen at the top right. This is basically how the screen's changed a little bit. I don't usually use that screen very much anyway. So this is just what's on there. Allow you to provide... The panel at the top right adapts with sale and transfer options depending on whether you're viewing. Yep. You'll notice too that these screens look a little different for MLS players, as they now have a more contextual information like the club they're contracted to, which club holds their rights, and who initially signed. Okay, that's good. Any improvement to the MLS is good. The introduction of intermediaries... Please let me... That's the last time I say it. Enhanced functionality, pre-existing agents, elevate the experience of selling players. Okay, good, very good. I like all this. I'm interested to know what becomes the default. Like if you're selling X player, let's say he's a squad player, you just think it's time for him to go. Are you talking to his agent as the first? I'm assuming you would talk to his agent and as the first port of call and say, hey, look, we're interested in selling this guy, and then go from there. See what teams are interested from the agent, because the agents rule the world of football, as we know. And then I guess if there's not too much interest or interest you're not happy with, then you go to the transfer room, offer to clubs, and get more broader bids, which I'm assuming will, on average, be slightly less. I like the fact that you can't do both. You can do both, rather. I think that's important, because sometimes you just want rid, don't you?
Especially if you're like me and you kind of role-play Football Manager a little bit. So even if it's a good player, but they've pissed you off royally, I don't care. Get rid. Get rid. He's dead to me. Don't care if he's my best right back. He's dead to me. So that's really good. Overall, very good. I think this even more so maybe than the last video we talked about with the new features is I need to see how this works. Because there used to be, in the old days, you could look at a player and you could see their value. That was their rough value. Let's call it, I don't know, market value, just for fun. And then they decided to change it. So now when you look at a player, this player could be valued anywhere between 50k and 17 million. Because, you know, useful. But now, ask the agent, you'll now get a singular number that doesn't necessarily mean what it would cost to buy and or sell, but gives you a better idea. Wow. Good. Just have a number. Just have a number. I'm not going to get on that rant again. I'm not going to get on that rant. Right. Let me know what you think. Let me know. I'm particularly interested to know how you think this is going to play out. Are we going to be just doing agents mainly? And then if the offer to clubs, the transfer room stuff as the backup option, are we going to be just doing both every time? Because you might as well get as many bids as you can. I don't know what priority order until we get the game, we're going to see, but let me know what your thoughts. For those of you who are waiting for the Journeyman, I am working on it. My FM has been running 24 hours a day, and I'm still looking for a job. It's been 5 seasons. This is the longest I've been jobless. I'm not sure I know how football works when I come back. It's been so long. But now it's become a stubbornness thing. Now it's like, no, I'm waiting for these right clubs, these 6 possibilities, and if they will, one of them will fire their manager in the next 5 years or so. Right, there we go. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I think this is a bit more obvious. Like, we know exactly what this means. I think with the talk of in the previous video about, go watch it if you haven't, about AI enhancements, that's always up in the air. You know, lots of talk of dynamic, which we've had talk of dynamic stuff before that hasn't really panned out. Like all things, this is what the company making the game is saying about the game. We don't necessarily, and obviously they're going to sell it as good as they can, right? So we don't know until we get the game. Everything has an asterisk before you leave it in the comments about broken promises or this didn't work out like that. We know, I know. But this is all we have to go on right now, so that's what we're discussing. When the game comes out, we'll find out if these promises come true, right? But so far, one of my favourite FMs, based on the stuff that they're telling us. This is my jam. This is all good stuff for me. So I'm very, very happy boy. Right, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. Subscribe for more FM24 news and content and shenanigans. Especially if you're more of a casual, relaxed FM player that doesn't like min-max and just... What I'm saying is, if you're bad. If you're like me and you're bad at the game, and you pretend you're purposely bad, but just actually bad, then this is the channel for you. I also... No judgment here. Unless you save scum, in which case... No judgment. Right, play it how you want, because who cares? Right, see you later. Bye-bye.